and welcome to episode number 176 of the Reasons I'm Broke podcast. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
For any new brokettes out there, the way we format the show is we cover some news first, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. And then we do a couple of comic book highlights before we close out the show.
Before we get into our news, though, we do have a story of the week.
We got to pay our tribute to Snape, to Alan Rickman, ourselves, by going to Harry Potter World at Universal Studios in Orlando.
It's been a long time. I think we went when they opened the first section, but they still hadn't finished it all the way. And then, of course, now they have this brand new section, a train that takes you back and forth. So we finally got the opportunity, went to experience it, and of course cried as we walked past the potion classroom.
For brokettes not in the Central Florida area, what Universal did is they put the first Harry Potter world in the Islands of Adventure. And Universal has two portions, two parks. Islands of Adventure, which has the Marvel section, the cartoon world, and now the Harry Potter section, the first one. And then regular Universal Studios has more of the movie-based properties. So that's where you used to see Twister, Men in Black, Shrek. The Simpsons Land is on there now, and also the brand new Harry Potter section, which has the Diagon Alley, all the various shops, a whole section where the Death Eaters meet, and that's behind the whole different alley. And as she was mentioning, you can take a train from each of the Harry Potter sections, but you do have to have both ticket parks to actually be able to go and take that train, which is a ride in itself.
And this was such a brilliant idea. They're like, oh, you want to see both the full Harry Potter experience? Well, you have to pay more. Which I looked into it, and I want to say it's like a $40 or $50 difference. So if you're going specifically for Harry Potter, yes, that extra money is worth it. But that was super sneaky, Universal.
The train, when you are inside it going from Universal Studios to the Islands of Adventure, is you see the Harry Potter kids, so Harry Potter, Hermione, and Ron, and they're talking at one point like the candy gets loose, so you see a chocolate frog running through the window, and it's all kind of glassed over, so you don't really see the actors, but you see their shadows as if they're walking down the train hallway. And then the Dementors at one point sneak into the train, you see them touch the glass, and that freezes over, and it's really cool. But then if you come back the other way, which we didn't get a chance to do, but that's a whole different show when you're going from Islands of Adventure to Universal Studios.
So what that means is, for example, the way we went from Diagon Alley to Hogwarts. And coming back the other way, it would be from Hogwarts to Diagon Alley. The way it was all put together, done really, really well. Even inside the park, it was so cool. So they have wand shops in either Harry Potter land that you go to. And so you can buy the regular ones from all the characters, but then they also have interactive ones. So you see these little markers all over the ground, and you take your little interactive wand and you wave it, and then things happen. And I was like, that's so smart, because now you just got that. I almost bought one just to do that stuff, because then you have a $40 wand sale right there.
One of the examples is you can have like certain objects start spewing water. So there's like a statue with an umbrella, and then you have your wand and you point it at it, and the umbrella starts throwing out water from the inside of the umbrella. Little things like that, which are really awesome. In the Death Eater meetup, which is all air conditioned, you go down this alleyway and then you come out and it's dark as if it's nighttime always in that alley. And it's probably from the books that I completely missed or don't remember. But this is all Death Eater sections. Like the little shop there has all Death Eater and Voldemort merchandise. And then has this interactive map that shows you all about the different creatures. And like I said, it's all air conditioned, so it's always cold in there, which fits the whole interactive part of it.
Yeah, really, really, really well done. I'm thankful that we got the opportunity to go and see it all. If you're a Harry Potter fan, this is the place for you.
At this point, though, they had gotten rid of all of the Alan Rickman tributes, so they didn't have any of that near the platform at King's Cross or even in the Harry Potter, the Hogwarts ride. When you go past the potions classroom, they used to have a single lily out there, and they don't have it anymore. Unfortunately, I would have had like a fake lily there at all times and just have it be a permanent part of it. People would have gotten it because it's from the books, and then it would have also been a tribute to Alan Rickman that would have just stayed there. And if it gets stolen, I mean, you can't really reach it unless you go underneath the bars, but if it does, I mean, it's a little plastic lily flower you can just replace, and it's not a big deal. So that's the only thing about that. All of the rides were mainly 3D rides. So assholes like me with astigmatism, it doesn't really work as well. So all the 3D stuff doesn't pop as much.
I get motion sick really easily too, and that's one of the reasons I think that we don't go to Universal a lot, is I get sick on all the rides. We rode Transformers first, I got sick. We rode the main one inside Hogwarts. That made me so sick. I closed my eyes through like most of that until the screen went away, and then I opened them and there's a giant ass spider, and I'm like, fuck, man, what did I do? So that is one downfall. But the way they designed everything, even all the merchandise shops were great, all the food locations you walk in and it feels like you're in something right out of the movies or the book. They paid a lot of money for this place.
I expected all of the Snape stuff to be gone, but it was all fully stocked. They had the Snape keychains, they had the Snape wands, they had the Snape pop figures, which I know are out of production right now from Funko, so they have tons of them still left over. I was tempted almost to buy another one because I'm like, I don't know if they're ever going to make one, but I still have mine that I bought months ago and really happy with it. And overall, it was a great experience. That's probably our favorite portion of Universal Studios. Simpsons Land was awesome, too.
It was really cool, yeah.
Went to Moe's and I had a beer.
Yes, and Moe's, I did not expect it to be that amazing because the outside looks just like Moe's, and then you walk inside and it also looks just like Moe's.
I had a Duff beer, which is kind of like a heavier Bud Light. And just the experience of having a beer at Moe's made it worth it, and I loved it. Just being huge on the older Simpsons episodes, which they always had playing at Moe's on the television, just like in the show, or even any of the merchandise shops. They have all the older episodes playing, and it was great. The new expansion for the Simpsons Land was also fantastic. If I had to recommend, let's say you can only go to one land, I'd say go to the Universal Studios portion for the Simpsons part and the newer Harry Potter section.
For sure, I would agree with that. Don't ride the Simpsons ride because you will get sick on that too. But there was definitely more to do in Universal, I felt, at least for us, than there was in the Islands of Adventure side.
Alright, on to the news. Kicking it off with DC superhero news. I forgot to include the Broquette reactions on the Wonder Woman footage.
Tisk, tisk.
But I do right, because I've included it here, and here we have it, kicking it off first. If you don't remember the Wonder Woman footage, they aired it during the DC Comics Dawn of the Justice League special on the CW. Kicking it off with @TheIrishOnFire. These are all from Twitter. Quote, looks fantastic.
Next we have @John72Tex. I am intrigued by it. Can't wait to see more.
And finally, also from Twitter, @CubanSlim. Not enough to even worry about. Just wait till March and we'll see her in Superman Loves Batman. That's the exact title. That's what it's called forever. And continuing here with the tweet, Marvel is about to drop 2 big blockbusters, and DC is trying to keep pace because their launches occur this year too, plus the hype on Legends.
Think those are all comments that we could agree with ourselves.
Yeah, all positive. It seems like people were very happy with the early Wonder Woman footage, which isn't even finished yet. Any of this whole movie is still going on. They could still do more special effects work on it, lighting work, whatever it may be. And as we said last week, we thought it was an early look, but it looked great.
Next was some television news, something that's very important to us. Netflix has renewed House of Cards for a 5th season ahead of Season 4's debut this year on March 4th.
That just shows that they have confidence in the House of Cards brand.
It's a great show.
It is an amazing show. If they can get the whole cast back, why not? Keep doing it. If you can tell the story, keep on going. We're loving House of Cards. And if you haven't seen it, please catch up on all the seasons because it is an amazing show. When the 5th season debuts in 2017, however, the show's creator, Belle Willimon, will not be on board.
In a statement, we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to Beau Willimon for his strong narrative vision for House of Cards over the show's first 4 seasons. The producers, cast, and crew join us in wishing Beau the best in his next creative adventure.
That could be a number of things. He could have wanted more money. He could have been finished with the story and didn't want to continue it. Maybe he wanted to do a larger project that he got offered. We don't know. We don't know the details. Are you personally worried about the show's creator no longer being on board for this new 5th season?
You know, I feel like at this point he's probably worked with, because obviously he hasn't done everything himself. He's probably worked side by side with people long enough that those people can help carry it forward.
Right.
And of course, if it isn't as good as it should be, then we'll just forget season 5 happened. But I'm not really worried. I mean, the show is so great, and even if for some reason he leaves and it comes down one notch, it's still an amazing show.
And with that, it is the beginning of the month, beginning of
Yes.
February. So now we have the Netflix February 2016 highlights. So this is stuff that's going to be leaving Netflix and stuff that's coming to Netflix or being renewed.
So first up, we have our list of leaving. We have Bad Santa, Doctor Who Season 8, The Hurt Locker, Rain Man, The Terminator, Pokemon Black and White, Pokemon the movie Victini and Reshiram / Zekrom, Pokemon the movie Genesect and The Legend Awaken, Pokemon Indigo Season 2, Pokemon Kyurem versus the Sword of Justice.
Kyurem.
Kyurem? I don't even know who that Pokemon is, man. Jesus Camp and Sonic the Hedgehog.
These are the highlights, stuff that relate to the podcast and stuff that we've seen. Bad Santa is probably my favorite Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. And these haven't necessarily left at the very beginning of the month. It could be any time throughout, 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, or at the very end of this month. So if any of those popped up and you're like, holy shit, I haven't gotten a chance to rewatch that, or I have never seen it, on my recommendation, watch Bad Santa if it's still on there. It is fucking amazing.
Don't watch it in front of children.
Yeah, it is rated R. The Terminator, the first one, is very good. All the Pokemon movies, a lot of them are going away. The Indigo League Season 2, that's from the original series.
Yes, and I don't think I ever even got a chance to watch that, so, oops.
Jesus Camp is very scary. If you watch that, it's heavy.
Yep.
And Sonic the Hedgehog, it's been on there long enough, so there's still 2 other Sonic shows on Netflix.
We're not a fan of Doctor Who, but Doctor Who Season 8 is leaving. The Hurt Locker was a great movie, if nobody got the opportunity to watch that.
Yeah, we saw that in theaters. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great. And then Rain Man. I've never seen that movie, but I know you really like it.
Yeah, I believe there were some Academy Awards connected to Rain Man, but it's been years since I've seen it, and I may have to catch up right before it leaves. So here's the stuff that's coming to Netflix, brand new, and also contract renewals. So we've got Full Metal Jacket, You Must See It Before You Die. That's another one of those. Also Kubrick. Pokemon the movie, Deontay and the Cocoon of Destruction. Pokemon XY, Sin City, Land Before Time 14, Journey of the Brave, and I Love You, Philip Morris.
Who's Deontay?
Deontay's the Crystal Legendary, so it's got like it more feminine features as far as legendaries go, but it's more of a rock crystal legendary. Pink, it's ground and fairy if I remember correctly, but that movie we haven't gotten in the US, and it's gonna debut. It debuted on Cartoon Network and now it's debuting on Netflix, so people can finally watch it.
I don't know.
I've liked the Pokemon XY television show a lot. I think it's the best season in years, so I'm hoping that the movies reflect that.
Land Before Time, I'm surprised they're still going.
I don't even know if they're still going.
What
if
is
they're
that,
just
number
adding
14?
14.
Wow, I don't think I've watched one since like number 5, maybe was the last one I watched. But it's a great series. Keep on supporting it.
Do you know the original ending to Land Before Time 1?
Yes, they were all like dead and they were trying to get to heaven.
Yes.
That would have been way cooler.
I think they tested it with audiences and they said, that's too depressing.
Aww. I still wanted them to like have had that in mind, and then it got so popular. They're like, oh, we can push out 14 of these and 3 sing-alongs and make money.
You know a lot about Land Before Time. 3 sing-alongs?
Okay. So my brother, when he was little, was in love with dinosaurs. So we had all the Land Before Times. But of course he liked Jurassic Park better as a 3-year-old. You know, real dinosaurs eating people was more fun.
Better movie.
But granted, we still bought all the Land Before Times. I actually got the first Land Before Time in a McDonald's Happy Meal. I don't even know how I remember that.
I didn't even know they gave away movies. VHSs?
It was in a McDonald's, and I don't know if it actually came in my Happy Meal, or they're like, hey, give us $1 and we'll give you this VHS. And Mom's like, well, that looks like a cute cartoon. Let's get it. I don't know. That's how I got Land Before Time. I remember it vividly coming out of a McDonald's window. Don't ask me why I remember that from my childhood.
It's because movies don't often come from McDonald's.
I guess.
That's why.
I don't know. But anyway, and then because, again, my brother loved dinosaurs, we just bought all of them after that. And I would just watch them with him over and over again. So I could probably tell you a whole lot about Land Before Time.
The biggest addition to Netflix, which we haven't listed because this is something we do want to discuss, is that Young Justice Season 2 will be hitting Netflix this month.
So the creator of the show, Greg Wiseman, recently had this to tweet. Retweet, Young Justice Season 1 and Season 2 now on Netflix. Want Young Justice Season 3? One of the best things you can do is watch all episodes over and over again on Netflix. Or buy the Blu-rays.
Either one. If you don't have Netflix, check out the Blu-rays. It is a very good show. People have been asking for Young Justice Season 3 over and over again for a long time now, to the point where I'm thinking we're not ever going to get a Young Justice Season 3. I kind of got over it, like, that's fine. We have the Blu-rays. We can live with the 2 seasons. We're happy that we got what we did.
First world problems. We can live with the 2 seasons.
But now Season 3, the possibility that he opened again, it's like, shit, man. Now we're going to hear all about it. But now we have to hope in vain and watch the seasons that maybe we can get a 3rd season on Netflix or on Cartoon Network, wherever they may pick it up.
Just leave Netflix on for your dog when you leave the house, and your dog can watch Young Justice over and over.
For 3 episodes until Netflix asks you, yeah.
If you're still there, exactly. This is what we say all the time, though. You vote with your dollars. If you're buying this thing and they can prove to somebody that people want this, then it'll get made.
We saw this with Constantine recently. The hashtag Save Constantine was going on. We were championing that for a long time. And eventually Constantine made an appearance in Arrow, so now he's part of that whole CW universe. And going to return for DC's Legends of Tomorrow Season 2. Wiseman's previous shows included Spectacular Spider-Man, which also lasted 2 seasons, and Gargoyles, again, 2 seasons.
See, Gargoyles surprises me because there's still such a huge fan following for that also.
There is. I think a lot of that is nostalgia.
Probably.
I don't know how much they'd actually support a Gargoyles movie or a Gargoyles redone television show. I'm not sure. I think it was Disney's answer to Batman the Animated Series.
It was.
And it wasn't as good as Batman, of course, but wasn't. People do have fond memories of Gargoyles.
Well, we'll see. If you guys liked Young Justice at all, get out there, watch it on Netflix. Let them know you want to see more.
More younger characters in the DC universe. Although TNT passed on the Titans live-action series, DC Chief Creative Officer Jeff Johns says there are plans to revive the project. I almost changed completely what he said.
There are no plans.
People sad.
So he was quoted saying, "We at DC have known about Turner nixing Titans for months and months and months and months. That's not new news to us. We have plans for Titan. It's a huge piece of DC and we have plans."
This would not be the first time DC has successfully revived a television series. Supergirl was originally passed on by the CW.
Oh, CW. Why would you do that?
They're going to repair that relationship with all the rumors about Supergirl possibly appearing on Arrow, possibly appearing on The Flash.
We'll see.
Or maybe the other way around, The Flash appearing on Supergirl. Either way, it seems like these companies, even though they're all under Warner Brothers, the different television companies are more willing to work together, reach on over and say, all right, let's borrow the character and really make fans happy.
I would love to see the CW pick up Titan. This would be brilliant because then, yes, they have that, which I think is going to pull in a lot of people, pull in a lot of views. But then, I don't know if it's easier, but then you could also have the Flash crossing over. Or, whoa, slow down and rewind. What about Wally West? We have Wally West and Flash. Use that same guy, throw him in Titans. Done.
We already know that won't be the final team on Titans. There's going to be additions, just like there have been additions to all the other superhero shows. Like now we have Wally West and I'm not watching Arrow, but you had Black Canary, you had White Canary, and now you have Speedy, Arsenal. So with this Titans show, if the success of DC's Legends of Tomorrow have told anyone anything, is that a superhero team-up show can work, will work, and when you have characters like Nightwing, Starfire right at your fingertips, use them, pick this up. Maybe it's good that it didn't get picked up on TNT, just like we reported months ago that maybe it wouldn't have done as well on that network, and now CW might have the chance to pick up Titans. So do it. Nightwing alone will get you tons of viewers.
Oh, of course. I'm going to watch it just to see Nightwing and Starfire fall in love.
I want to see Raven. I want to see her done in live action, all the different spells with today's special effects. Do it. It would look amazing.
Well, this is good news that we've heard, though. Just like we said, it'll get picked up by somebody.
Not the news I'm most excited for this week. Instead, It is the following. The long-rumored Justice League animated series has been confirmed by Cartoon Network.
Justice League Action will be an action-heavy show that will follow the 11-minute format of other shows on Cartoon Network, like Teen Titans Go.
In a press release from Cartoon Network, here's the quote: Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman lead the DC Comics superheroes against their most infamous foes in adventures packed with relentless thrills, fun, and action. No need to wait for the good stuff to start. Each 11-minute episode jumps in with lightning speed, action, and heroics. Whether defending the Earth, facing invaders from space, or battling the bizarre forces of magic, the always rotating team of Justice League heroes are up to any challenge. End quote.
This has me really excited and kind of not so excited.
Alright, before we reveal the big stuff on Justice League Action, what makes you excited and why are you worried?
So, I love Justice League, of course, that's why I'm excited. And the next bit of news that we're going to cover about this is why I'm even more excited. Because it's awesome, it's huge, it's amazing, it's our childhood come back to life. We love Justice League Unlimited and that entire show, and we've watched every episode multiple times. So, love it. I think Teen Titans Go is great also. I think the 11-minute format works. But the thing that I'm concerned about is these shows that we love, they're pulling away from that full episode, telling that full entire story, and they're feeding into children's short attention spans.
This is definitely aimed at a younger audience. You can see that from the character designs that they've shown. They're even more blocky than Bruce Timm's designs. They're a little bit stockier. They've got bigger eyes. And I understand that they're aiming it at the Teen Titans Go audience, some of which are us, because we do watch Teen Titans Go, and we're going to watch Justice League Action. 11-minute format, very quick episodes, action as they mentioned, and we're not going to get the stuff that we got in Justice League or Justice League Unlimited, but that stuff is still there. You have all the seasons you can buy on Blu-ray, and it was up on Netflix for the longest time. This is trying to do something different, trying to appeal to the vast amount of DC characters that they can use. The keyword there was rotating team of Justice League heroes. In the first poster that they showed months ago, it featured Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman, but also tons of other characters in the background, like Shazam, like Red Tornado, and that's what we're going to get out of this. You'll still get the Trinity, but then you'll have the other characters working around them, which is going to be a lot of fun to see who all they can pull, who's going to make their debut in Justice League Action.
Well, let's talk about the person who is going to make this show amazing. And I will let you talk about this, because I know you're just dying to let everyone know.
Kevin Conroy from Batman the Animated Series and the Arkham games will reprise his fan-favorite role of Batman with Mark Hamill voicing the Joker. I shouldn't even have to say where they're from. Kevin Conroy, Batman himself, and Mark Hamill, Joker himself, doing their roles as they should be, their life work back in Justice League Action. That is going to be an expensive fucking show just because of these guys. You have to pay these guys so many zeros, ones and zeros over and over again. Pay them whatever the fuck they want, because that will get me watching this show. The character designs could look like shit. They could look worse than they are, and I like them the way they are fine. They could be not even the right colors. This could debut on whatever channel, but the fact that we're going to get the voice of Batman and the voice of Joker coming out of those fucking faces, I am in. I am watching this.
Here's my money. Throw it at the TV.
Here's my time. I will watch these.
I am so happy they got Mark Hamill back, because just a few years ago he was saying he was never going to do the Joker again unless
for the 14th time.
For the 14th time, unless it was in The Killing Joke. And we all laughed and said, sure, Mark Hamill. But then he made us all believe that he wasn't going to. But now here he is, and I'm sure he complains that being the Joker is hard work on his voice, yada, yada, yada. But I'm sure these smaller episodes are more appealing because there's less he has to say, and because there are so many different characters, there's less episodes that he has to do.
Kevin Conroy, just to have him in this entire season, you're going to use Mark Hamill less because you're not going to have the Joker in every single episode. Batman, you're going to use him a shit ton in Justice League Action, and it will be Kevin Conroy.
But what else does Kevin do? Kevin does Batman.
That's basically it.
That's all he does.
I'm sure he's made enough money where he doesn't have to continue to do the Batman thing. He's already in his late 50s,
why would you not
probably
want to
early
be
60s.
Batman?
Some actors get tired of doing the same thing. They don't want to be defined by one character.
If people associated my voice with Batman, and I don't know why they would, But I would do that for that. I would be on my deathbed and be like, yes, I will take that project. And they're like, but Kelly, you're going to die in like 2 days. And I'm like, well, then we better start working.
We better begin. So other voice actors, because there's more than just Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. Who else do we have here?
We have James Woods from Once Upon a Time in America and Casino as Lex Luthor.
And also Diedrich Bader from the Drew Carey Show and Office Space as Booster Gold. We're going to have more voice actors confirmed as we get closer and closer to the debut of the show.
Justice League Action will be produced by Butch Lukic, who did Justice League and Batman Beyond, Alan Burnett from Batman the Animated Series, and Jim Craig from Green Lantern the Animated Series. When am I getting a season 3 of that?
Also, yes.
When am I getting more Green Lantern the Animated Series?
That's another one that I've okay, that's gone. I'm happy that we got this.
No, but Razor and I have my whole fan fiction in my head of how they're going to be together.
Would you rather have Green Lantern the Animated Series return or Young Justice Season 3?
Is Starfire going to be in Young Justice Season 3?
Yes.
Then Young Justice.
All right, then.
But I'm not super happy.
One concern that I've seen about Justice League Action is that Kevin Conroy's deep voice as Batman coming out of these more kiddie designs.
It's fine.
I'm like, no, that's Batman.
These children need to learn now.
Is that not Batman on... Yeah, that's true. That's going to be Batman for many, many children because Batman the Animated Series isn't on television.
Yeah, and that's why Conroy keeps doing it. He's like, the next 5 generations will see me as Batman. I would do it too. Good for you, Kevin.
But not everyone is happy about this. We've got our first...
One person is not happy.
Yeah, one person is not. Our very first Nerd Rage Reaction of today.
You look like you're trying to turn Super Saiyan whenever you do that.
Give us the Nerd Rage Reaction quote.
I went from excited to heartbroken in the space of an article. So his girlfriend broke up with him?
It must be not related to this,
while
right?
While he was reading, his girlfriend texted and was like, we're done, okay? And then he went from excited about this article, and then he got heartbroken because she broke up with him.
That's got to be it.
That's got to be it.
It can't be that they were reading the article and then they saw that Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill were returning. Because that would make you excited to... If you were not for the show, now you are in because you have the voice of Batman and Joker. So that's got to be it. He must have gotten... He's no longer in a relationship. His status changed on Facebook.
While he was reading the article.
Exactly.
That makes total sense. So it's not really a nerd rage reaction. It's just a sad nerd reaction. I don't know what their complaint is, but they're going to watch this show anyway. Let's be real.
So that is it in the world of television and movie media. Now we're going on to the print retail space and how it's going to become even more competitive for many businesses out there.
Following up on a partnership with Viz and Marvel, Wal-Mart has partnered up with Diamond Distributors for a dedicated graphic novel section in its stores worldwide.
So this had me a little bit worried initially. It's no secret that I work at a comic book shop. There are tons of Walmarts out there. GameStop's already started to carry action figures, comic book statues, special variants exclusive to their locations, and there's more GameStops than there are Walmarts. Hasn't affected us, at least I don't think, too much. But Walmart now carrying the graphic novel stuff, I was initially like, this is not good. But then I'm thinking, Walmart stuff, books, they're not going to take care of that shit. My boss pointed that out too. He said it's all going to be ratty. Kids are going to go through it. The employees aren't going to be there to make sure that kids aren't going through the novels or reading them and then putting them back, tearing the cover. So that's kind of where I'm like, you know what? You're right. The collectors aren't going to go and buy a trade paperback from Walmart if they want it to be in good shape.
Right. That's right where my mind jumped to with this also when I read it. I wasn't concerned. Because Walmart, one, they're not going to carry everything that a traditional comic book exclusive store is going to sell. You're going to have the main big sellers right there. Maybe something comes out, a new Avengers movie comes out. They're going to keep the most popular Avengers stories, but nothing new. So anybody who watched the movie and says, well, let's see what they're doing now currently, they're not going to be able to find that in Walmart. You're also going to attract the people who don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're looking for. They just feel like reading a Batman comic and they walk past and say, oh, well, this one's cheap. Let me just read that. So you're not really going to lose that much business. They might make a little bit more money from doing that, but I don't think there's a single person who's subscribed at a comic book store who's going to say, let me pull my subscription, I'm going to Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart, you brought it up exactly. They're going to have limited space on this graphic novel section, so you're not going to see titles like All-Star Superman or Superman Red Sun, Superman for All Seasons. I don't know why I'm just going to Superman. Those just Spider-Man Blue you won't see on there. Mm-hmm. So it is just going to be either the very latest stuff or just the biggest hitters. Probably you'll see Batman Hush on there, but that is basically just the top 10 of the graphic novels, and that is basically it. And you just got to hope that they're in decent shape if you choose to shop at Walmart. In 2014, Walmart began to sell $5 edition of some Marvel trade paperbacks like Captain America Winter Soldier and Avengers The Heroic Age.
Walmart will begin testing out their graphic novel section at select stores.
This next bit of news is the one that has me worried. And maybe you can calm me down. But
I'll calm you down.
Online retailer giant Amazon plans to open 300 to 400 bookstores.
No word on how comics or graphic novels would factor into their bookstores, though.
But it's gonna be a part of their stores. With comic book movies ramping up now with the DC Universe, Marvel still going strong, and Fox pulling out more X-Men movies, and now the Deadpool movie, which is a guaranteed hit, they'd be stupid not to carry graphic novels for comics.
So let me ask you, speaking of Amazon, what is the appeal of Amazon for people?
The price. They can undercut all retailers up to 40% on the books.
You think that's the major appeal?
Yes.
Because that is not the major appeal for my father. The major appeal is he can sit on his couch and buy something, and then all he has to do is get up from his couch to the door to get it.
So that's probably the second appeal to Amazon. I still think the first is
the price. I mean, granted, yes, the price is great, but something to realize about this is that the bookstore opening still means that people have to get up and go out to the bookstore. So I don't think this is going to affect you as much as you think it will.
Which they will also do when they come into comic book stores. They still have to get up and go to the comic book store and buy trades.
Yes, no, I understand that, but I'm saying that the people who aren't doing that right now, who aren't getting up to come to your comic book store where people are passionate about this and they can talk to these people specifically about their favorite characters, about their favorite stories, about what these other people appreciate. The people who aren't doing that are sitting on their couch and ordering this from Amazon for the cheaper price. Mm-hmm. They're going to continue to sit on their couch and order this from Amazon for a cheaper price. And the people who come into your shop for an experience are not going to leave your shop to go get a cheaper price when they could have done that by ordering it from their couch anyway.
I don't know. I think I'm worried because I do have it pretty often where people say, and it's because other retailers do this, they say, do you price match with Amazon? They'll have a bunch of trades. Like, do you price match at all? And sometimes they're like, okay, thanks. They put the trade down and they leave. And then, you know, those customers you probably never had if they're just going to buy it on Amazon. And every now and again they say, okay, well, I'm here anyway. I'm going to get it. That's fine. So they just bite the bullet. They get the trade paperback. Comic shops can't afford to sell stuff at Amazon prices, right? So not all of them, at least. I don't know what Midtown does. So that where I'm worried is now people's first stop, if there are Amazons in the area, Amazon bookstores, is to go there first for the trade paperbacks, get it at up to 40% off, and then maybe go to the comic shop for the single issues or back issues if they choose to go there. Because I have a lot of customers that are just trade paperback buyers. You see them almost every Wednesday, and they go to the new trade paperback section, they pick something up from there, and they buy it, and they go. And it's awesome. I love it. But if there's an Amazon bookstore where they can get it up to 30% off right down the street, and with Amazon, they can get it stocked up immediately with their different warehouses that are in the different states, that they could just have it shipped or overnighted to the stores, and they can stock it right back up. Comic shops don't have that luxury, or at least that speed.
I understand your concern. I still don't think it's going to affect you as much as you think it will. One, you got to think about the distance that they're driving to get these things to at a cheaper price. If I have to drive an hour to get it 30% off, or I can go 5 minutes to my local comic shop and save that 30%, I'm going to go to my local comic shop.
Well, it's assuming that you live 5 minutes from a local comic shop.
Correct.
So we'd still be losing customers to anyone that the Amazon bookstore is closer to them than that comic book shop. I think either way, comic shops throughout the nation, if this becomes 300 to 400 all throughout, and even more later, will become affected by this.
To a degree, yes, but you still have those people who are going to come for the experience. And with so many new things coming out with the movies, you're going to pull more people into your shop. How many people, okay, honestly, when we first started going to Barnes & Noble before we read comic books, when you thought about comic books...
I always read comics.
I know, but I mean before I read it, but do you generally think of Barnes & Noble as a place to go and get comics?
I would go there, check out the graphic novel section. That's probably where I used to go to get my graphic novels because I would get a discount because that used to be linked into GameStop and I used to work at GameStop. So I know I'd at least get 20%.
I don't know. I never thought of Barnes & Noble as having comic books until you mentioned it. I think of Barnes & Noble as a place you go and get books. So if I had just seen a movie and I said, oh, cool, I want to start reading up on this character, I would then go online and Google comic shop and find my closest comic shop rather than a traditional bookstore. I don't know. I'm an optimist. You're a pessimist.
Weigh in, Brokettes. What do you think? Will these Amazon bookstores affect comic shops in a huge way? There we go, in a huge way. Or not? Let us know on Twitter at ReasonsI'mBroke. If you're listening to this on YouTube, just comment right below. And if you don't have Twitter, find us on Facebook.com/TheReasonsI'mBroke.
Now moving on, something that DC Comics hopes will affect comic sales in a big way, particularly their comic sales. I don't know why it would affect anybody else's. But they have announced a line of titles based off the classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
This was huge news.
Yes.
It was all over Bleeding Cool, Newsarama, Entertainment Weekly, Kotaku, everywhere. Normally comic news doesn't hit Kotaku. When it does, that's when you know it's pretty big. So these titles include The Flintstones, Scooby-Doo, Jonny Quest, Space Ghost, and Wacky Races.
DC's parent company, Warner Brothers, acquired the Hanna-Barbera cartoon library in 1996 in the merger with Turner Broadcasting Systems.
So you've got the comic library, you can use these characters. It seems like they waited. The Scooby-Doo cartoon, or the comic, was going on. It is still going on. The Scooby-Doo team-up is great. But now you can use the entire library. There hadn't been a Flintstones comic in years, so now we're going to see that return. Space Ghost. Definitely not the kids that they're going with for this. It's going to be older audiences in their 40s and their 50s and their 60s. That's who this is for. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Dan DiDio, co-publisher of DC Entertainment, had this to say.
I think what you find right now is there's so much material on pop culture, and these characters resonate with so much of our fan base. It was so fun to go out and look at them, but not just bring back versions that existed 40, 50 years ago, and really look at it the way of saying, if these characters were created and interpreted today, how would they exist? So we handed off our materials to a number of top creators, and what came back was an exciting look that felt very true to the existence of the characters.
So as I mentioned before, aimed at older readers, yes? But now they're changing some of these characters to appeal to younger readers. Is that the mistake? Should they make it as they appeared in Hanna-Barbera? Which some do. There's some stuff on here, but Scooby-Doo is the biggest one that is changed from the rest of them.
Nope. I think that this is a brilliant move. So I remember watching some of these when I was younger. Jonny Quest in particular. I would love to see Jonny Quest now. Jonny Quest was really racist back in this day. Really racist. But most of Jonny Quest's adventures stemmed around, like, Nazis. So if you bring that back to me now, I'm not really going to relate. But as we've seen with Archie, when they brought it into 2015, that was great. Then you could relate to that. Then you have these old characters that people love, and I'm sure some people continue to stick with those comics because of that. But then you pulled in new readers, like, you know, myself and you, who knew of this character, was never interested, but now it's fun and it's fresh and it's something that we can relate with. I think they're going to do that a lot with these.
And I think they thought this through before they did the redesign. So Scooby-Doo is something that is still being marketed to kids. Scooby-Doo has recently gone through a change in the animated series, in the character designs, and it's still in kids sections as Scooby-Doo Team Up, Scooby-Doo Where Are You? That comic is still there. So that one, if any of these is being watched by younger kids, it is Scooby-Doo. And that is also the one that they changed the most. So that was the safest bet. If you're going to modernize any of these, do it with Scooby-Doo.
Mm-hmm.
The Flintstones got the character designs by Amanda Conner, and those they haven't changed much. They look like comic book characters. They don't have the older features that you saw in the animated series, but they still look like the characters, and that's fine. Space Ghost looks exactly the same, and I love it. So really, Scooby-Doo is the only one that was quote-unquote modernized, and I think that was the sure bet on this.
I agree. We do have another quote. "Outrage," Jim Lee joked with a laugh. "I hope they put a smile on people's faces. I think we think of these characters so much as our childhood, and I want people to kind of embrace these updated versions of the characters and really understand that at the core, these concepts are not just limited to little kids."
Jim Lee, of course, did the redesigns on Scooby-Doo.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have some of the creative teams behind the comics that we will be getting this summer. Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, written by Jim Lee, who, of course, has done Batman, Hush in the past, X-Men, and Keith Giffen from Legion of Superheroes, with art by Howard Porter, who's worked on JLA.
We also have Future Quest, which is a merging of Johnny Quest, Space Ghost, the Herculoids, Birdman, Mitor, and Frankenstein Jr. That is a lot of people.
It's a lot of characters.
Yeah. So this is written by Jeff Parker, who did Batman 66, with art by Doc Shanner, who did Flash Gordon.
So this is essentially like the Justice League of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and with Doc Shanner on there, it's pretty huge.
I guess. I feel like none of these people ever met in the cartoon, but whatever.
That's even more exciting, that the fact that you have Space Ghost, because back then you couldn't do that. You had to have your separate cartoons. And in this world where all these movie studios are trying to pull their properties together and say, for example, Godzilla versus King Kong, that's now happening. And now you have Batman versus Superman. Civil War is this year. Do that with the comics. If anything, that you can do it with comics if you have the power or the trademark or the legal power to do it. Space Ghost meeting Johnny Quest. How incredible is that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Fine. You got
Birdman.
me. Birdman and Space Ghost. That's what I want to see.
Another comic from the Hanna-Barbera world is Wacky Raceland, written by Ken Pontac, who's previously worked on the Justice League Unlimited comic book, and art by Leonardo Manco, who has done Hellblazer in the past.
Did you ever watch Wacky Raceland?
No, this is actually the first time I had heard.
Me too. I'd never heard of this before, but it's going to be really interesting to check out.
I think it was before my time. I definitely missed that one.
Finally something before your time?
Yep.
There's never anything, but everything's before my time. It's never before your time. And the final one we have on our list is The Flintstones. This is written by Mark Russell, who did Prez. The character designs are by Amanda Conner from Power Girl, and the interior artist is to be announced.
That I'm definitely in. I'm in on The Flintstones, I'm in on Future Quest, and I'm in on Scooby-Doo.
For sure.
At least 3 issues on each of these. Then we'll see how the book is, and if we have to trim down, fine. You notice this is right before DC Comics' rebirth.
Yeah, they're trying to make all the money they can.
This is going to be a huge summer for DC Comics.
Yeah.
It's going to be massive. I think Dan DiDio has saved his job with the rebirth move
and the
and
meat
with
and
the
potatoes.
Hanna-Barbera. Yeah.
Going back to the meat and potatoes.
All 4 series will launch this May, but no word on whether these will be a series of one-shots, minis, or ongoings yet. If I had to guess, Scooby-Doo's an ongoing.
Yep.
The Flintstones will be an ongoing.
Yep.
Future Quest, if anything, Wacky Raceland will probably be a miniseries.
Yes.
Future Quest I can also see as an ongoing.
Mm-hmm. So we do have a Nerd Rage reaction for this. Oh, you nerds and your rage.
Hipster Shaggy has driven me to suicide. That's it. I can't live in this world.
I guess their girlfriend broke up with them too.
In the middle of them writing this?
Yeah.
No, they said Hipster Shaggy has driven... Is Hipster Shaggy the person that his girlfriend cheated with? Or
maybe. I don't know.
It just happens to be the name,
Now,
and they happen to share it with Shaggy from Scooby-Doo?
Do they realize that Shaggy was kind of always a hippie?
Yeah, and this is just more of a modern hipster.
Right. He's kind of... They're not really changing his character, sir.
Character designs will always make people flip more than... This could be the exact same character as he's written, but just the fact that he has a mustache, a beard, and tattoos will make people lose their fucking shit.
Calm down. Don't kill yourself yet.
Why don't you read the book first, and then maybe you can kill yourself.
Or
Did the did the cartoon recently, the new Scooby-Doo designs. Those are very different too. How you haven't killed yourself for those, but you will for Jim Lee's redesigns.
Well, because there wasn't a big article they could comment on for the
that's true.
for the
that's
cartoon.
True, yeah.
I mean, they probably killed themselves over that too.
This is how important Shaggy was to this person. He so cared about Shaggy that the slightest change made him kill himself.
You don't know. Maybe they have Shaggy wallpaper. They have a big Shaggy statue made out of gum, like Helga did in Hey Arnold, in their closet, and they just like kiss it every day. You don't know.
And then Jim Lee broke in and he changed it all physically himself.
He went in. Man, if I woke up, if I had a wallpaper of something, and I woke up and Jim Lee had drawn over it, all of it, I would be thrilled. I'd be like, thank you, Jim Lee.
I don't care if it's hipster Shaggy.
It's fine. Whatever it is.
But that's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, he's just being dramatic.
Calm down.
So that is our news this week. Now we can thank our Brocats out there from Patreon with our Patreon shout-out of the week.
This week it goes out to Alexander. You can find him on Twitter at Swordfish Show or purpleswordfish.com.
If you head on over to purpleswordfish.com, it'll direct you right to his YouTube channel where he does tons of Let's Plays and really awesome reviews.
So once again, thank you so much for your Patreon support. If you listeners out there say, I want to be a Patreon supporter too, you can support us for as little as $1 a month, which averages out to 25 cents an episode.
That will get you early access to the episode, sometimes days early, and I have been really good about that. They're getting it days early. And you will also get your shout out every single month. If you have a Twitter handle, include it on there when you do back us on Patreon, and we will give you that shout out.
Also, coming up within the next few weeks, we will have a Patreon exclusive episode. So that's another perk that you get as a supporter.
That's right. If you do sign up for Patreon and support us on there, you will get access to this exclusive episode. If you see an episode missing from your feed, let's say it jumps from 179 and then goes to 181, whatever it may be, that'll be because the other episode is on Patreon. And that will be an exclusive one made up by our Patreon backers where they chose what they wanted us to cover on that special episode. So that is coming up this month. A huge thanks to decalavenue.net for helping us out with the $5 perk, which is for $5 a month. You get, after 3 months, you get a decal. And we do have votes out there, polls out there that will let Brocats choose what they want the decal to come from, which Cuban Slim, Lourdes, and Katie are getting their decals, and then we have Neil's coming up next month.
We do want to say, though, that our podcast will always be free, so if you say, you know what, I am spending so much money on comic books that I don't have the extra to support you guys, the best support you can give us is just by listening, by talking to us on Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media you have, letting us know what you think of all these fun things that we talk about.
You can find the link to all of this at thereasonsimbroke.com.
So now, as a last part of our show, we're going to talk about a comic book highlight that we had this week.
Couldn't pass up an episode when Saga releases,
yes.
So it is Saga number 39, written by Brian K. Vaughan and art by Fiona Staples, your favorite comic series of all time.
Of all time. And it's still amazing. It was still a great book. We ran and we focused on 3 characters that we have not seen in a long time, and I still remembered who they were and what they were doing, and I still liked them. And it was just awesome.
It was still Saga. It was still, I mean, there's only so much you can say. I generally leave the Saga review up to you because you adore this book way more than I do.
I love it.
What else do you have to say about number 39?
I mean, I say the same things every single time. It's awesome. It's always solid. I feel like we're about to get into a really great part. So we have these 3 characters who kind of fell off the trail of our main characters for a while. Stopped following them, started doing their own thing, but now they're getting back into that hunt. And I think very soon we're going to see a wonderful mesh of all these characters that we've grown to love for almost 40 issues. That's a long ass time, you know, and they take breaks for what, on year 3 now of this series, and you know, still absolutely amazing. Every single issue, I look forward to it. I love it. So I think we're going to see them all come together, and it's going to be crazy. The way that Brian K. Vaughan writes these guys, I don't even know how he does it, because they're just all so memorable, and Fiona Staples comes up with the best designs. They're all so colorful and memorable, and the poor Will, that's all I have to say. The poor Will.
There's more politics at work at this point as far as how far you will take someone's privacy and the different worlds that we have seen from these different species, they're about these characters that we see in number 39 are about to expose that, or at least they're coming up to that choice of whether they want to expose these characters that we have grown to love, as you mentioned, for almost 40 issues. So it's a pretty big turning point for Marco and Elena.
So we'll see what comes next. As always, I'm so looking forward to the next issue, and they better never take a 6-month break again, but I know they will.
So that will do it for our podcast this week. Huge thanks to all the Brokettes out there, to you for tuning in. That is the biggest thing. Episode 175 had a huge growth spurt right from the beginning. And we've beaten we've topped November's downloads, which was the biggest one in months. And now January's is going to be the biggest one. It's going to be the one to top. So
awesome.
I know that's all done thanks to Brokettes out there spreading the word. Thanks for tuning in every single week. All of that builds up to our success. And of course, big welcome to new Brokettes who have joined us for this episode number 176.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Like we said, we love talking to you. So if there's something you heard on this show that you just want us to expand on, you can hit us up on Twitter at Reasons I'm Broke. Also, if there's something you didn't really like about the show, we're always up to listening for improvements. We do this show for you. So if there's any suggestions that you have, please let us know.
Another way you can help us out too is if you're listening in through iTunes, leave us a review on iTunes. It takes 2 minutes and they stay up there and it helps new Brokettes find us, helps bump the show up on the charts for entertainment, for games, and for hobbies.
So guys, once again, thank you so much. That's going to be it for us this week. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Daniel.
We'll see you next week.